Shout out to Dark Visitor for sending me this story, and this is a very interesting story, and I know this one is probably going to make a couple of you feel a little tingly inside. I'll just leave it at that. But anyway, this person's name is Jayvon Hatchett. He's 19 years old, and he is out of Georgia. And this guy is currently in prison right now because he stabbed a complete stranger, and his reasoning was he felt he needed to find a white male to kill, basically because of all of the police brutality that has been going on. Now, I don't know if he actually killed the white male that he was going after. It just says that he stabbed him, so I'm guessing that he didn't kill him because I looked at his charge. It said aggravated assault, so he didn't kill the person. But what happened when he got into prison with his cellmate, that's what makes this story even more interesting. So it says the Georgia man arrested for stabbing a white male. The Georgia man arrested for stabbing a stranger last month, claiming he felt the need to find a white man to kill after watching videos of police brutality, has murdered the white cellmate he was placed with following his arrest. This guy clearly just was fed up with the BS and was like, look, don't put anybody who is palm colored and male around me or they gonna get this work. Jayvon Hatchett, age 19, was charged with aggravated assault and possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime after stabbing a random AutoZone employee in late August. Following his arrest, he was placed in the Muskogee County Jail. If convicted for the initial stabbing, Hatchett could be one of the first people sentenced under a new Georgia hate crime bill. Now look at that. They said one of the first people to be charged under the Georgia hate crime bill. Isn't it ironic that Georgia now all of a sudden has a hate crime bill, and it's a bunch of hate crimes that has been going on around this establishment, Georgia included, against black people, but he's one of the first to get hit with it. The reason why I'm laughing at this is because I think I've heard something like this before, but it was in another state. Man, they be trying to get black people under a lot of these hate crimes. On Saturday, Hatchett murdered his white cellmate at the county jail, 39-year-old Eddie Nelson Jr. Nelson was in prison for violating probation for failing to report as a sex offender. As far as I'm concerned, that's why he did it. Does anybody oppose? No? Okay, I'll continue. Hatchett's initial stabbing was one of two hate crimes against white men inspired by BLM in the same day, both ignored by the national media. They sound very outraged that it didn't get any steam. And then it said inspired by BLM. Who's to say that this guy even follows BLM? See, that's the thing that they tried to do with Micah Johnson. He had to come out in his manifesto and was like, look, I have no ties to BLM. The same thing with Gavin Long. He says, I have no ties to BLM. They basically said, I'm doing this on my own free will. BLM did not tell me to do it. See, the reason why they're saying that or saying he was inspired to do this by BLM is because they want BLM to be a terrorist organization so badly. You see how many times they try to link it to Antifa? Every time BLM gets mentioned, they mention Antifa in there as well. Those are two different organizations with two different, I guess you can say, goals. Or two different missions, I'll put it like that, because I don't know what really the end game for either one of them really is. A black man in Colorado was arrested for a hate crime and attempted murder after stabbing a white stranger while shouting BLM on the same day as Hatchett's attack. Now, that's my first time hearing that one. But see what they're going to start doing now? They're going to start revving these type of stories up more and more, so it could go against what we see when it comes to black people being killed by these terrorist. Steve Sinclair, age 30, stabbed 29-year-old Michael Connor while shouting BLM and saying, I'm going to kill you and your dog. Local Station 9 News reports Sinclair continued saying BLM to police when they arrived, according to the first officer on the scene. That officer wrote that Sinclair had his hands up and said, I stabbed him, I'm a psychopath, refused to sit down, and insisted that officer should shoot him. He was arrested without incident, according to the report. The only thing that's shocking to me is the fact that this guy actually survived. Because you know how they like to do us. The family of Connor has set up a GoFundMe as he was their primary provider and he will not be able to work for at least 6 weeks. he has a 5-month-old son. But you see what they're trying to do, right? This guy gets hit with one of the first hate crime laws under Georgia's new hate crime bill that they just ironically pulled out of their ass when they should have been had one on the books. It's amazing how they have a hate crime law now that a black person committed an alleged hate crime against somebody else who is palm colored. And then they threw that other story in there as well that I didn't have any knowings about. And it's crazy because you would think that, you know, as much as PC loves to put out there that interracial crime is so heavily impactful nowadays that they will push it more to be put out there. It's crazy. They run the media, but they don't push the media as hard as they think they should do, or as much as we think they should. But they'll come to my channel and troll. Now, I wonder how many troll comments I'm going to get from this. Now, am I saying that the guy was right or if he was wrong? I'm going to leave that up to the people. Because see, when you are a fed up individual, stuff like this will make you snap. At least he had a reason for why he was doing what he did. He just didn't do it off of impulse, just because he wanted to go do it. He had a reason behind his actions. It is what it is. Just like Michael Johnson had his reasons for doing what he did. Christopher Dorner had his reasons for doing what he did. Gavin Long had reasons for doing what he did. And most of them all went back to how these terrorists in blue, mostly the palm colored ones, are filthy in these departments. And his reasoning pretty much lined up with that. He said watching those police brutality videos made him snap. And to be honest, if that's what it would take for, if that's what it would take for black people to actually really, really go out there and do what it is, they better be extremely lucky that most black people are in a forgiving mood, very quote unquote Christian-like, if you want to call it that. Because if black people thought like how this guy did as a collective, PC, opioids, low birth rates, and whatever other internal or maybe external issues y'all got going on would probably be the least of your worries. This kind of black man right here and the ones that I mentioned are the kinds that PC are scared of. That's why many of them hate. That's why many of them don't like when those videos get shopped around, because it not so much puts an idea in black people's heads to go out there and do what this guy did, but they know the trauma behind it can cause some people to act in a certain way. Now, this guy will fall into a rarity category along with the guys that I mentioned before, because it's not every black person going out there and doing what this guy did. Because like I said, if it was, they probably would have the damn National Guard, SWAT, Interpol, FBI, U.S. Marshal in every black neighborhood around the nation today on heavy lock and key to make sure we didn't get out or try to, cage us in to not go to a certain area. No one gets out. No one comes in. At least after or before a certain time, if even that. But y'all let me know what y'all think.